Hello guys, in this lecture we are going to learn about the fundamental of electrical engineering materials. Let's start with Bohr postulate. Much of the experimental work on electronic structure of atoms that was done prior to 1913 involved measuring those frequencies of electromagnetic radiation that were absorbed or emitted by atoms. It was found to be the characteristics of atoms that they observed or emitted only certain sharply defined frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. The exact pattern of frequencies is characteristic of each particular substance. In 1913, Niels Bohr, who is a great scientist, cleared that if only discrete frequencies could be emitted or absorbed by an atom, then only discrete energies were possible and proposed that electrons could revolve indefinitely about the protons in orbits of fixed radii. Bohr postulates the following points as an electron did not radiate energy if it stayed in one orbit and therefore it did not slow down. Next postulate is about uh, about the radiation or absorption of the energy by atom, that is when the electrons moved from one orbit to the another, it either radiate or absorb the energy. If it moves towards the nuclear, energy was radiated, and if moved away from the nucleus, energy was absorbed. And the last one, for an electron to remain in its orbit, the electrostatic attraction between the electron and nucleus, which tend to pull the electron towards the nucleus, must be equal to the centrifugal force which tends to throw the electron out of its orbit. These are the Bohr postulates as per his observation or experiments carried out in 1913. Wave or and particle duality. The term wave or particle duality suggests that both particles and waves have a dual nature. For most particles obey the classical Newton's law of mechanics. Occasionally, however, they reveal another mysterious side of their character and behave like waves. An electron speeding down the column of an electron microscope produces such wave like diffraction effects upon interaction with the materials. Similarly, waves that exhibit the standard optical effects like refraction and diffraction can surprisingly dislodge the electrons from metals by impinging on them certain conditions. Wave or particle duality is expressed by the equation lambda is equals to h upon p or is equal to h upon m into v, where lambda is nothing but the effective wavelength and p is the momentum of associated particles whose mass is m and velocity of that particle is nothing but v, and h is nothing but the Planck's, it is called the Planck's constant, and it can be defined as h is equals to 6.62 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. Now let's see the quantum number. Modern atomic theory indicates that the position of an electron in its orbit as well as its momentum, but it cannot both be determined accurately because of the dual nature of the electrons. As we seen earlier, the electrons are the particles having uh, dual nature with the wave and particles, that electrons may behave either as a particles or as a wave. When dealing with the material engineering, it is usually sufficient to treat the various parts of matter, especially electrons, as minor discrete particles located at most probable positions. The state of an electron in an atom can be described by four quantum numbers. First is principal quantum number, which is indicated by n. If you are talking about the principal quantum number n, small n, of an electron in an atom determines the major energy level or shells to which the electron belongs, and it is indicated by small n. N has the values of 1, 2, 3, 4, up to so on. If suppose you are considering n is equals to 1, that n is equal to 1 indicates it is the first energy level and is nearest to the nucleus. Corresponding to each other value of small n, there are n possible values of orbital quantum number, small l, which is nothing but the next quantum number, that is orbital quantum number indicated by the small n, l, small l. The quantum number small l determines the angular momentum of electrons, and this may be looked upon as sublevels or subshells. The value of small l ranges from l is equals to 0 up to l is equals to n minus 1. N is nothing but principal quantum number. Just if I want to calculate the values of small l range, it is starting from the 0 and ending to the principal quantum number minus 1. So suppose if you are considering any example with n is equals to 1, obviously orbital quantum number will start with the l is equals to 0 and ends to the principal quantum number, that is n minus 1. And if value of n is the 1, then obviously only one value will be there, that is l is equals to 0, and l is equals to n minus 1, that is 1 minus 1, it becomes 0. So there is only one value of l. For n is equals to 2, you can also think about n is equals to 2, then you will get that l start with the 0, l is equals to 0, and if you are calculating l is equals to n minus 1 and n has the value of 2, 2 minus 1, you will get the again 1. So this time if you are considering n is equals to 2, then you will get the two values, l is equals to 0 and l is equals to 1, and so on for other values of small n. Next, magnetic quantum number, which is indicated by ml. The magnetic quantum number determines the possible quantized space orientation of orbital angular momentum, which is a vector quantity. It can be looked upon and indicating the manner in which each sublevel can split into the still finer level, differentiating slightly from each other in energy, but still belonging to particular sublevels. The values which this quantum number can have are determined by the value of small l, that is orbital quantum number, and ranging from minus l and toward to the plus l, including the 0. That is a total of, you can calculate the magnetic quantum number with the help of the empirical formula, that is 2l plus 1. 2l plus 1. For example, suppose you are considering l is equals to 3, you can calculate the value of magnetic quantum number, that is ml. L is equals to 3, it means as I defined, the value of quantum number, magnetic quantum number, it can be defined from minus L to plus L. Okay, and for example, considering L is equals to 3, then the values of ML will be the minus 3, 2 plus 3. That is, you can say ML is equal to minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. Suppose if I am considering, for example, L is equals to 4, then the value of magnetic quantum number ML should be from minus 4 to plus 4. That is, you can say minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, like that, so on. And the last one, spin quantum number ms. The spin quantum number ms comes into the picture because an electron behaves in some ways as if it were spinning about its own axis, as well as in orbit about the nucleus. Magnetic properties of materials are explained in terms of this spin. The spin has two possible directions. It is also quantized, and the two possible values of ms, that is spin quantum number, and that can be calculated as, that can be assigned as m is equals to plus 1 upon 2 or minus 1 upon 2. This is about the quantum numbers. Now we are going to see the electron energy level transitions. The atomic model that has emerged to this point includes a set of electrons, each having a unique set of numbers that distinguishes it from others of the same atom. The energies of electrons depends upon primarily depends upon the principal quantum number, that is small n, and to lesser extent on small l, that is orbital quantum number. It means you can conclude that the energy of the electrons directly depends on principal quantum number and less extent to the orbital quantum number. This means that the electron energy level, like that of hydrogen, exists for every element. In the picture you can see a schematic representation of electron transition between two energy levels with the excitation and with the de-excitation. In the case of hydrogen, the electron in the ground state, you can say principal quantum number is equal to 0. Ground state means principal quantum number is 0, that is small n is equal to 0. Can make a transition to an excited state provided the state is vacant and the electron gets the enough energy. The energy needed is simply the difference in the energy between the two states. As you can see here, absorption and emission is shown with the picture, and the two energy levels are here. First one is the E1 energy level, another one E2 energy level, and the energy difference, that is E1 minus E2 or E2 minus E1, that energy difference deal with the transition of energy levels. Okay. Likewise, energy is released from an hydrogen atom when it is de-excited. You can see the second part of this image, here HV indicates the energy emitted from this transition. This is about the hydrogen atom, and the process that occurs when an electron descends from occupied excited state to fill an unoccupied lower energy state. Photons are frequently involved in both the types of transitions as schematically indicate in this figure. If the energy levels uh, in the questions are E1 and E2 such that you can define as a E2 is greater than E1, then you can write equation as E2 minus E1 is equal to difference of energy, that is del E, and it can be defined as HV12. It is also defined with the Hc upon lambda. H is nothing Planck's constant and V is nothing but the velocity of particle, and 1 2 indicates that electron or the energy level transition done from the energy level 1 to 2, like that. That's why it is mentioned that 1 2 in the suffix. And as computational aid, if difference of energy, that is del E, is expressed in electron volt and lambda in micrometer, then it can be defined as electron volt as del E in electron volt in bracket, that is electron volt is equal to 1.24 upon lambda. This is about electron energy level transitions. Thank you very much.